We need to do it because I think you heard a lot of people you were talking about the map actually discourages people from voting. We need to make sure, and I said this in my comments, we need to make sure that we're not only making good policies and arguing over that, trying to come up with the best policies for Pennsylvania, but also that we're protecting and enhancing our democracy. And I think when you have a map that is as gerrymandered as the maps that we labor under, people can legitimately get the feeling that their vote doesn't count, and why bother?
Now, Republicans, as you know, have gone to the U.S. Supreme Court seeking a stay. What do you think is going to happen there?
I'm not a lawyer, but I think this is a case that is dealing with Pennsylvania constitutional law, not federal law. And so it seems to me that the U.S. Supreme Court ought to say, this is really the state Supreme Court ruling on an issue that has to do with the Pennsylvania Constitution, and they're the ones that really ought to decide this. And I think, so that's my legal opinion. I think the practical opinion is that people, I sense, are really fed up with the way the map is, and they really want a fair map. And anybody they think, I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you stand in the way of that fair map, I don't think you're going to get a lot of credit. It depends on what your priorities are as to what data you use. I want a fair map. What I'm trying to do with things like this, meetings like this, is to understand what the people of Pennsylvania think is a fair map. We can bring all the experts together, but in the end it really comes down to what values do we have as citizens, and what kind of democracy do we want, and that's what I want. I want a fair map. I don't want one that protects incumbents. I don't want.
What do you mean by fair, though?
That's what I'm trying to understand. It's a very subjective thing, and as you can understand what is fair in the eyes of maybe a very partisan person on one side of the aisle, might be very different from what fairness is to somebody else from a very different vantage point. I'm trying to find out what people who don't have a vested interest in a specific short-term goal in the system, what do you think fairness is? And that's why I think these listening tours are really important.